Hey guys, as some of you may know, I'm super obsessed with the game Among Us, and so today I'll be sharing with you guys how I made this adorable perler bead craft that has been trending all over TikTok. It's super simple, so let's jump into it. So what you're gonna need are these perler beads. I got mine from Michael's, but you can also get them from Amazon, and I'll link them down in the description so they'll be really easy to find for you. I also got this pegboard because this is a little bigger than your regular craft, so this pegboard just connects together to be a bigger surface. I also use these tweezers, which are optional, but they definitely help the process go a lot quicker. And then you can just get started. In the description of this video, I will be putting some patterns to make it easier for you guys to follow. And it does take some time. This probably took me like 40 minutes, but I think it was worth it. It was a really fun craft. You know, I haven't used these perler beads probably since elementary school, so it was really fun to get into a DIY that I haven't touched for a long time. And I just had a show on Netflix going on in the background and just worked on it, and the repetition was actually pretty calming. And then once you're happy with your project, you can iron it. Luckily, the pegboard I bought also came with a few sheets of ironing paper, but you can use parchment paper or wax paper. You just want to cover your project and lightly press the iron straight down on it and hold it there for a few seconds until you notice the beads fusing together. You can do this on both sides if you'd like, but I preferred the look of the unmelted beads, so I made sure to leave one side untouched and just hoped that the other side was melted enough so they wouldn't come apart. And then after ironing, just place something heavy on top of it while it cools, and then you can remove the wax paper and make sure it dries flat. I also went back in with another tool that was similar to the tweezers. I'll also link it in the description, and I use this to poke holes in the white area just so it's a little easier to see out of this one. And surprisingly, you can actually see out of it. Just be careful because I basically ruined my table because I stabbed right through it. So just put something behind it when you stab so it won't go through your table. And then for my crewmate's hat, I'm making the leaf hat because that's the one I usually use. And I will also link a pattern for this down in the description. It was a little tricky, but this one took me about half the time as the other one. It took me about 20 minutes, but I did mess up. But now that you guys will have a pattern for this, it should be easier to follow and should go much quicker. And then you just want to follow the same steps that you did to iron the other one. And I ironed it for about 75 seconds. And I use a water bottle to help flatten it out, and then once you peel off the paper, you're ready for the next step. So these are how my two pieces came out. So I went to the dollar store to get the other two items you'll need. For the visor, or technically it's an astronaut helmet, I don't know what you want to call it, I got some sunglasses to attach to it so it'll be much easier to wear, and I just poked a hole using my little tool and threaded some floss through the mask so I could use it to attach the sunglasses. You could hot glue them down if you wanted to, but the little give that the floss allows helps so your nose can fit in so it's not right up against the mask. This was pretty difficult to thread the floss through, but eventually I got it, and I did about 3 times over. And then for the headband, I just simply hot glued the little leaf onto the headband. I did a few layers to make sure it stuck, and there we have it, a super fun and simple DIY for the Among Us game. And then for my spacesuit, I bought this one from Amazon, and I'll link it down below so you guys can find it also. And so of course this one comes in white, and it has all these awesome patches, which was a super plus to getting this one. To help give it some more visual interest, we have to dye it teal to match our crewmate, so I just followed all the regular steps of dyeing fabric. And this fabric is a little interesting, so I did add some vinegar to hopefully help bind it to the fabric type. And I did this on the stove, which is optional, but I wanted to heat it up so I could hopefully make sure that all the color would bind with the material. So I left it on the stove for a few hours on low, just making sure to press it down so it's all under. And in total, I added 2 cups of vinegar. I hope that helped, I'm not really sure. And I also added some yellow dye to maybe make it a little more teal colored. And so I was actually using a tamale pot, so I used the other section of the pot to help push down the fabric to make sure everything was underneath the waterline. And I let that sit overnight, and in the morning I washed it, and luckily it did not ruin this pot. I just had to wash it really good. And so when it came out of the washer, I didn't really like how splotchy it was. Also, if we look at the tag, you can see how well the dye would have taken if this wasn't made out of polyester. So I did do another dye bath, and this time I just did it in a little bucket. So I made sure to wet the fabric with hot water, and then I just poured the dye directly over it. I really wanted this to saturate it, so I tried not to water it down too much. And so I just made sure that all the fabric was covered and that everything was even. And I added a bit more water just to help everything stay under the waterline. And every hour or so I would scrunch it up to make sure it was getting saturated. And then the next morning I drained it it and put it in the washer, and I absolutely love the color that it was before it went into the washer, but of course it's not going to be that vibrant since this material is a little funny. So I just washed it tap cold and no detergent, and it came out this soft blue, which technically isn't the teal I was going for, but it was good enough. And although it's not exactly the color I was going for, I think it gets the message across that it's obviously like a blue color. So for that, it's good enough for me. I've absolutely loved playing this game, and I also stream it sometimes, so be sure to turn on post notifications on YouTube so you can see when I'm streaming. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please be sure to give a like and subscribe, and follow me on TikTok if you'd like to see more videos like this.